There's one thing you've probably heard about GTA 6 is that it's inspired by the story of Bonnie and Clyde.
And again, heavy Bonnie and Clyde vibes.
Reports have claimed that they're going to be a Bonnie and Clyde inspired pair of thieves.
Bonnie and Clyde.
Which makes sense because GTA 6 features the only female protagonist in the 3D GTA era. But there was also a rumor that the game was inspired by another film, that film being A Place Beyond the Pines.
If you ride like lightning, you're gonna crash like thunder.
A 2012 film, The Place Beyond the Pines, is essentially broken up into 3 acts. You have the beginning that focuses on Luke Glanton, played by Ryan Gosling, and Romina, played by Eva Mendes. And it appears they were just a fling at first, until Romina has a child by Luke. Then Luke learns for the first time he has a child when Romina comes to see him and lets him know. So after learning that, Luke decides he wants to be in the child's life and that he wants to take care of his new family. Now this essentially sets up Luke to begin robbing banks, because I mean, what else are you supposed to do in this economy? Now it's this start that really gave me the feeling that this is a GTA style story. You have your likable, stoic main character in Luke that wants to provide for his child, Jason. Yes, his child is named Jason, as in the same named character of the male lead in GTA 6. And much like a typical GTA protagonist, he turns to a life of crime to make ends meet. Now in this movie, Romina is not involved in any of Luke's crimes, and in fact, she wants nothing to do with him once she kind of sees how violent he can be and once she starts questioning where exactly he's getting this money from. So to say if GTA 6 is inspired by A Place Beyond the Pines, I don't think Lucia is inspired by this character Romina. Well, at least not completely. See, a lot of debate has taken place around the main characters Jason and Lucia, and one such of those topics is what actually is the ethnicity of Lucia. And one such assumption is actually that she is of Cuban descent. And just so happens Eva Mendes, the actor that plays Romina, her parents are of Cuban descent. Interesting. Based on the GTA 6 trailer, it seems Lucia is actually more of a wild child. First time we see her, she's actually behind bars. She has an ankle monitor. And in contrast, Romina is nothing like this. She is a loving, caring mother who is struggling financially and emotionally with being a new parent. And speaking of being a new parent, another topic that has been debated is if Lucia and Jason have a child, or if even just Lucia has a child. Now, I've heard both sides of this argument. I've heard some people say that, oh, GTA is too raunchy, it's too violent, you can't really have children in it, and it's kind of been true up to a certain point. We haven't really seen children in GTA games. What series we have seen children in is Red Dead Redemption. This is where we'll start kind of getting into more spoilers of A Place Beyond the Pines. I really recommend watching the movie. Really great soundtrack, really good movie, so I mean, go check it out. Okay, so the second act of the movie takes place with Luke Glanton getting killed. Luke Glanton is killed by a police officer named Avery Cross, played by Bradley Cooper. And the second act of the movie kind of delves more into Avery Cross kind of exposing police corruption and kind of rising the ranks. Well, in fact, one of the corrupt cops in the movie is Ray Liotta. Ray Liotta, aka Tommy from Vice City. Now, in Red Dead Redemption, John Marston, the main character, gets killed by Edgar Ross. Technically, he gets smoked by the army, but essentially Edgar Ross, a figure of the law, betrays John. John dies. This leads his son Jack Marston to take up his father's gunslinging ways, so that he can enact his revenge upon Edgar Ross, and therefore getting redemption for his father. And while this makes a very satisfying moment for the game, and it's very cathartic to get your revenge on Edgar, it's actually quite tragic, especially once you consider this is a life that John did not want for his son. But really, that's a topic for another video. Ultimately, the point is both stories have a father leading a life of crime, with them justly or unjustly being killed by a member or figure of the law, leaving behind a child who suffers greatly because of this loss, and ultimately leading them to try to get revenge for their father, which really leads us into the final act of A Place Beyond the Pines. In this, we see Jason's having issues with substance abuse, issues with school, and issues with law in general. He makes friends with AJ, who just so happens to be the son of the man who killed his father, Avery Cross. Teenage shenanigans ensue until Jason kidnaps Avery once he finds out about what he did to his father. You know how kids are. However, Jason decides not to kill Avery. Instead, he decides to flee, purchase a motorcycle, and much like his father, ride off into the distance. I also just want to take the time to say how great this movie soundtrack is, man. It is It's really fucking good. All that to say, this movie kind of already has a lot in common with previous Rockstar game. Not to say that Red Dead Redemption's story is, wholly unique, but more to say that, hey, there are some similarities here. So I don't think it's that far-fetched to say that this movie could also have a lot of things in common with GTA 6. I think another interesting thing about this movie is actually when it was released, which is 2012. That being 1 year before GTA 5 came out. Now, I've read that GTA 6 has started development as early as 2014, so I think it's highly possible that GTA 6 was inspired by this movie and therefore inspired the characters Jason and Lucia. In fact, this isn't even the first time that a movie has inspired Rockstar in their games. GTA 5 has some influences from the 1995 crime thriller Heat. Nico Bellic from GTA 4 was inspired by the movie Behind Enemy Lines and the character Sasha. And if we think about it, you have a white male, a human female. You have the main character driven to crime and robbing banks, ultimately to provide for their family. You have a father killed and the son seeking revenge for him, and ultimately riding off into the sunset and never being heard from again. And this is kind of Rockstar open world story 101. And ultimately, I don't think the question is if GTA 6 is inspired by A Place Beyond the Pines. I think rather the question is how much of it inspires it. But unfortunately, we're not going to know that answer until the game comes out or until we get another trailer, hopefully soon. But yeah, tell me in the comments, what do you think about it? Do you think GTA 6 is inspired by A Place Beyond the Pines? Is there another movie that makes you think of GTA 6? Leave that down in the comments, let me know, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.
We in the cave. We in the cave. We in the cave. We in the cave. We in the cave.